The following modification is undertaken at your own risk. Completion of said modification may irreversibly damage your component. If you're in any doubt, do not try this at home. By failing to do this modification correctly, you stand a good chance of destroying your model. Model companies are not obliged to replace your failed modification. Remember, I make mistakes, so you don't have to. Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Merry Christmas! It is Christmas week at the moment. Look, I've started to put my Christmas jumpers on now. You'll be forgiven for thinking this week is Mike Lane week, because yesterday we did the 1966 Batmobile rockets, and that used to be there. It's now up in the retro room. I've swapped it out now for the Ecto 1. That's down here now. Today, I'm going to be doing another Mike Lane mod. I'm going to be doing the John Wick Mustang. We're going to be having the deadly pencils and the carpets and mats. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you these 4 mods. Now, for transparency, Mike Lane has sent me these for review, but check out Mike Lane's website. It's in the video description. I've got the QR code there. You'll be able to see these mods for yourself. I am going to show you how to fit the carpets, and I'm going to show you each of these 4 things that Mike offers for the John Wick Mustang. So these 4 things are what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so the John Wick pencils first. Let's open these up. And these are incredibly tiny. And because they're so tiny, I'm guessing they're probably quite fragile as well. But, I'm going to open these up. What you've got basically one pencil. And you've got one pencil with a pool of blood underneath it as well. Now, I'm trying to think of the best way I can display this to you. Yeah, I think I'm going to use my mobile phone because they are so tiny. But you can see the difference between them there. That you've obviously got the one pencil and then the one pencil with the pool of blood. And if I just put my finger under here, you can see how small they are compared to my finger now. Pretty crazy, huh? And I'm going to pan back with my camera now. And you will see how small they actually are. But this is what's going to be sitting inside that center tunnel on the floor pan. So I'm going to look at the 2 different kinds of floor mats now, which are the plush floor mats. Get these out. Now these are sticky, so once we put these in, we can take the adhesive off the back of them and put them into place. Now these have got like a felt sort of feel to them. They're also engraved as well, which I'm hoping this camera can actually show you that. So when you go over the actual detailing on this, you can feel that. But that's what the plush ones feel like. And I'll be putting those in once I've done the carpet. And then you've got the original ones here. Let's get these open. And these look like this. Now these have got the rubbery material, and again they have got the engravings on them. These can be stuck down as well. So we've got the front seat and the passenger, and then we've got the ones in the back here. Now this is what the build actually comes with, if you remember. These 2 at the moment. So not going to need those if we use these. I don't know which ones I want to use, to be honest with you. Do I use the plush or do I use the rubber? I'll make that decision in a minute. What I am going to do though, the main reason for doing this video is the front carpets. So let's get this open. Now I've got a couple of these from Mike Lane. Now these are invaluable for laying carpets, but they're also invaluable for poking in cables and everything. It's a nice little gadget, this is. But this is what all the carpets look like here. And we've got a guide here which tells you the best order to put them in. So you put in number 1 first, then number 2, and you just keep working around like that. So I think the best way to actually fit this, I'm going to actually take out this chair. I'm going to be taking out this center console area. So as you can see, the chair is just these flange screws here. There is also just 2 screws at the back here and here, which is holding that center section in. And then the 2 at the back. As a matter of fact, I'm wondering now, could I have just removed those 4 and kept that in? I don't know. So I just got to remove the screws for the belts so we can get these out. And remember, if you haven't got to this stage, obviously you don't need to do any of this. But that's the belt screws out. Now you don't want to over bend this metal. Because remember, the more you bend it back, if I bend it again and bend it again and bend it again, it's just going to come off. So be careful of that. But as you see, I've taken now out this whole console here. So I'm almost ready to put the mats in. I don't need to remove where the seats are here. We can keep that in. Okay, I'm also just going to take off this lip here, because I'm going to need to be able to get the carpet in here. Look at me taking models apart. I never do this. I never do this. So it's a new one for me. Okay. Okay, so the first piece that I'm going to be putting in is number 1. It's going to be going along this inner edge just here. This inner edge. So what I'm actually going to do is keep this on here, and I'm cutting this on the paper like that. This is piece 1 I'm using. I'm going to fold back just like that, so I haven't got the whole of the adhesive exposed at the back, just that little bit there. And this is what I'm going to be lining up here. So I'm just making sure this goes over this lip here, okay, and that is looking just like that. Now what we want to do is just fold over the top of this like this, because that's going to be pinned down when we put that center console back on again. But that is one side in position. Now if you need to just get the edge at the bottom here done, that's what we use this for, and you can just brush that around these 2 sections here like that. Perfect. Okay, we're going to be doing the other side. So the other side's going to do exactly the same thing, but it's going to go over this lip here as well. So once again, I'm lining up that edge there. Then I can pull the backing off to line up this edge just before the lip there. And then I can take the rest of this off and I put it over this lip onto the back, and then over the bridge just there. That's good. Once again, I want to feed this over the lip like this. And then put in the sides here. Okay, that's good. So I've got that side done and I've got this side done. Okay. Okay, I'm now going to be working on this run for the carpets here. So the first thing I'm going to be using is this back piece here. This time I don't think I need to keep this on the actual paper, because what I'm going to do is line up the holes onto this section here so that they're perfectly in line. Just like that. Excellent. Once I'm happy with how that is, I'm going to use my fingers here and trace that around the contours at the back here. Just like that. And then keep rubbing just like that so I can get that nice and flat on the back there. That's perfect. So that is that back piece in. Again, trace this around the side to make sure that's cut in and pressed down tight. Around this belt section here. That's excellent. Around the front, do the same thing. Just going to massage that into that area there. And then I'm going to be taking the piece here, which is going to go in front. And this time I'm going to be lining up the edge just there and guiding this into position. Like that. I do love laying carpet, I tell you. I actually find something I think I'm good at. I can do the carpets. Now this has got a little fold around lip just over here. So again, using my little tool here, that's got in absolutely perfect. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same on the other side. So once again, I've taken this whole thing off here so that I can just line up. All I want to do is line up the holes. And then just let that drop into position. Just like that. And again, massaging the back down into the cavity there. And then keep doing this. That'll get that into place. And then feed this with my little tool. That's good. Turn it around and do the same thing at the front there. Perfect. And then the last piece is just going to be going into the back here. Making sure the hole lines up. And once again, we do have a little lip here. So I need to push in there and then roll it round. And make sure it's all flat. So if you've done this correctly, that's really good. You shouldn't have any bubbles at all. I'm just going to brush this suede so you can see that. That's gone really well, as you can see there. And now it'd be a case of just putting everything back in. Now with the belts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting these just behind the screw hole, just there. I'm going to take the one from the other side as well. And again, put it just behind the screw hole, making sure it's the right way round. Because there is a chance that that flap, like you saw on mine, has come off. But it's not a problem because it's going to be held into position by this, which I'm just putting in now. And then the center console is going to be going on here. And then the back box will be going onto here. Like that. So let me get all of that screwed in.
A few moments later.
Now before I put the seat in, I've got to decide on mats. I think I am going to use these ones. Because these are rubber mats rather than the plush ones. But obviously that's your preference. So just stick that down on top of the carpet I put in there. Obviously if you're not putting carpets in and you're just putting mats, this will just stick to the natural flooring of the Mustang. This is that one going in as well. Ha, that looks good. Put the seats in. I've only got one seat at the moment, so I'm just waiting for the other one to be delivered. And that's going to be going in here. One there. And one here. If you are worried about those belts coming out, I don't think they will because of the metal sections here. Then just glue them down. It's not going to be an issue. But I tried to pull mine through and they are pretty tight. And as you can see, they still operate. So let me just make sure these are tight. So obviously, to use the belt, it will just come out here and plug into the side just there. If I didn't want them in the center console. So it works a treat. Plug that back into there. And then I'm just going to be putting the front mats in. Now the driver side has got a solid piece at the back. The passenger side has got two squares. You can see the difference between them there. Solid, two squares. So this is the driver. Perfect. And then I'll put the passenger one in. And they're in as well. And then I can just put this panel back on the back here. And there you go. That was actually a really simple mod to do. and it just adds a little something to the build. I'm sure you'll agree that looks absolutely brilliant. You know what, just as a little appendium here, it's probably best actually to put this underneath the seat, just to tidy this edge up here. Now remember, this back seat here is actually just in with some, it's just a push down really. So actually we can put this under here like that. There's no screws holding this in or anything like that. Fold this over so we've got a nice tidy edge in there, so that when I push this back into place, it's going to look lovely and clean. Perfect. As you can see there, that looks a lot better. The pièce de résistance is to put the pencils just here. So one there, and I'll put one here as well, just on the little walnut center console like that. I love it. So what with that, obviously these plush left over, that's that whole mods available now through Mike Lane. So I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.